Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been really great so far, and thank you so much to Adam for the invitation. It's been really great to meet all of you. Like other Dani said, I own a company called Big Vision Empty Wallet and Big Vision Creative. And before I go into that, when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I realized that I am really obsessed with community building and collaborative art making. So that's a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about. But first I wanted to share an idea with you. And I was wondering if you can all take out your phones and follow both my company and me on Twitter and share this idea. So I'll give you 30 seconds to do so before I move on. So building a community all starts with a big idea that you're building that community around. So in the spirit of collaboration, last week when I was putting this together, I emailed 100 of my friends and colleagues and asked them what ideas are worth building communities around. So I'm going to ask all of you to share in a minute, but first I will read some of their responses. They ranged from really smart to completely ridiculous. And I left most of those ridiculous ones out. And most of these are film related because I obviously emailed my colleagues that I work with. So my friend Michael Ben Lawson, who works in distribution, said a call for transparency, reporting viewership in a uniform and transparent way so that filmmakers and the industry can have benchmarks for where audiences are engaging with their content. And my friend Leah Hamos, who's an agent at Abrams, said sustainability of new art forms at a lower cost, both in production and presentation. My friend Alicia Reiner, who is on Orange is the New Black, said peace, compassion, and growth. My friend James Belfer, who owns Dogfish Pictures and founded the Dogfish Accelerator, said any idea that has the support of 2 or more people. And the last one that I'll read to you is what my friend Michael Roderick wrote to me. He is a professional connector. He basically is a matchmaker for awesome people. And he said, the idea that there is a way for everyone to get the things that they need regardless of background, economic status, or location. And that is one that I really, really resonated with. So I would love to ask all of you what ideas are worth building communities around. And maybe some of you can share. Harmony and humanity here and now. That's really great. So thank you very much for sharing. So I built my community around a big idea, but in order for me to explain to you how I got to that point, like most of the other speakers did, I have to go back to the beginning and tell you a little bit about my background. So I'll call this next section Brilliant Triumphs and Epic Failures, AKA my childhood, but failures should have had quotes around them because what I really meant was temporary setbacks that you learn a lot from. So through the age of 4, my biggest triumph was always remembering to remove my eye patch for class photos. Obviously, the failure there is that I was a crazy pirate child all of the other days of the week. And my biggest triumph and learning to overcome that I was a pirate child was that my mom got me really interested in entertainment. And I was a really dramatic child to begin with, but she showed me how to use it to my benefit.
Oh no. You know something? Look at the television, Danielle. Look at the television. Look at the television, sweetheart. Show the television how you smile. How do you look when you're happy? No, not your happy face. How do you look when you're sad? How do you look when you're surprised? Wow! How do you look when you're sleeping? How do you look when you're stretching? How do you look when you're yawning? How do you look when you... That's a real one. How do you...
And my mom is still that awesome and that beautiful. So my mom got me interested in entertainment, and I realized that I could use that as a tool. And I used that as a tool to democratize and disrupt. I grew up with really limited resources, so I really developed a passion for democratizing, because an idea that I had really early on is that I just didn't want to have any limitations. And I think that's probably the earliest idea that we all have for ourselves when we're children. We adopt a lot of our parents' ideas, like our sports teams that are our favorites are usually our parents, and our political views and basic views on everything. And then we have this moment when we're really young that we realize that we want what we want when we want it. And I also realized that I could use entertainment as a tool to disrupt things. And I really enjoyed breaking rules when I was a little kid, and now as well. So that's how I started to come up with the idea of what I wanted to do and what I wanted to create. So continuing on with failures and triumphs, failure is that I was awkward as hell. I was the most awkward teenager. Triumph was that I had absolutely no idea. So I threw myself into performing and creating, and another triumph slash failure is at the age of 15 being suspended from school for singing like a virgin in the school variety show. I had made 2 party hats into Madonna's cone bra, and I writhed around on the floor touching myself because for some reason I thought that this was appropriate. And I was suspended from school, but I was really excited, and it felt like I was on, I felt like I was somehow on the right track. By the way, my mom made my costume, and so I felt like there was no reason for me to be suspended. This was like partially my mom's idea. This is a collaboration between the 2 of us, and to make awkward matters worse, for my teenage years, my mom taught in the same school district that I went to, and one of the many subjects that she taught was sex ed. And if you ever want to be completely mortified, you should sit in on your mother teaching a sex ed class. On the first day of every new session that she had every kid come up to the blackboard and write the dirtiest word they could think of for either sex or penis. And it was a really great icebreaker, but I also was completely tortured all the time by this. So I studied performing in school and through college. And after college, I realized that I really wanted to have more creative control than just being a performer. So I teamed up with a bunch of crazy people, and we formed a sketch comedy troupe in New York called Really Sketchy. And they're still my best friends, and we still perform together. And I learned so much from this collaboration and this experience. And after a TV deal gone bad, what I realized was that all of the power and information in the entertainment industry was held by a select few people, and everyone else was really struggling. And it really led me to want to figure out how can we democratize creating. So this was 2008, and what I decided to do was put on a series of events in New York City, getting the film community together, and at these events, we would meet each other and figure out if there could be possible collaborations, and we screened people's work, and it was really great. And we built a really big community. And fast forward 2 years after that, in 2010, I had met my current business partner, Alex Cirillo, and we launched our company, Big Vision Empty Wallet, around the big idea or fact that you don't have to sell your soul to create awesome, innovative work. And in building this community, we had to figure out the answer to that original question, how can we democratize creating? And we felt that we can democratize creating, or at least help to do so, by giving people access and by giving them information and education about the business side of creating so that they could focus on being creators. So we launched a Big Vision Empty Wallet in 2010 to provide tools and opportunities to help producers create smarter. And next week, we are relaunching BigVisionEmptyWallet.com as a brand new platform where we will be providing innovative business tools and case studies, as well as our opportunities that we have always presented. We have a national film pitch competition that we team with Canon to put on, as well as different pitch opportunities. And, and we're also putting together a mastermind program that's a lot like this program that we're all attending now, except we'll be doing that in New York City. And we help people connect and educate at our events. That's my business partner, Alex. As you can tell, we're extremely serious people. And we put on workshops and panels at festivals and in New York. And then this year, we launched Big Vision Creative. We were both creating on the side, and we were both producing work, but we weren't really doing that together, and we weren't really doing that under some kind of unified idea. So we launched Big Vision Creative this year to produce projects that we can build communities around. So I'll tell you really briefly about a couple of projects that we have on our slate. And one of them is a film called Lesbomb, which was a script written by Jenna Lorenzo that went through our screenwriting fellowship last year. And it's a true story based on how she came out in her late 20s over Thanksgiving dinner by bringing her girlfriend home for Thanksgiving. Her girlfriend didn't know that her parents didn't know that she was a lesbian, and her parents didn't know that she was lesbian, obviously. And it all takes place over Thanksgiving. The family needs to have their Thanksgiving dinner in a motel that the mother owns. And over Thanksgiving dinner, it's revealed that everyone at this dinner actually has a secret that they need to come out about as well. So we're building a social action campaign around the film with that in mind, that everyone has something that they need to come out about, and because we really want to make the coming out process more comfortable for people. So we're going to do a photography campaign and release a coffee table book when we release the film. And then we'll continue that when we do a tour of the film. We'll continue with that social action campaign also. And we have some really great strategic partners who are coming on board to help us do this. And then another film that we have in the works is a film that I wrote. And it's the first time that I would be producing something that I wrote. So I'm really excited. And it's a film called Refrain. It's a political comedy about the silly ways that we go about finding and electing our leaders, especially in the South. And we're building technology around it that will help us build a community around the film and have them interact with the film at live screenings, and then allow us to keep in touch with them afterwards and keep delivering content to their devices. And then we have our next problem that we would like to try to help solve. And oh no. And that is that last year, $120 billion was spent on creating content, and only 5% of that trickled back to the actual creators. And I have to thank Emily Best from Seed and Spark for these numbers. Obviously, that was supposed to be a frowny face after balls. So sorry about that. Well, obviously, this figure is terrible and it's ridiculous, and we want to find ways to empower filmmakers to take control of the distribution process and really own that, and at least understand it more than they currently understand it. So the next problem that we are trying to solve is, how can we democratize releasing? So we're going about that in two ways. We are spending this year really focused on audience building. How do we find an audience? How do we define an audience? How do we build one? How do we cultivate them? How do we keep in touch with them afterwards? So we're doing an experiment. We're doing a content tour. And the first leg of the tour in August, we'll be taking musicians. We're partnering with a major record label, who I can't mention, but we're taking major musicians to Lollapalooza. And then the second leg of the tour, we'll be taking filmmakers and touring their content and doing pop-up screenings, and hopefully big pop-up screenings in fields. And we'll be bringing DJs with us and really having a great time. And we're capturing the whole thing for a documentary called Fandom. And we're also partnering with a few brands to make this happen, including major car companies. But if anyone has a van that they want to lend me, maybe you should just come along. So we did a little dry run on the way down to South by Southwest, and Zach joined me for a really exhausting road trip. And we started off with a pop-up event in New York, and then we did one the next night in Savannah, the next night in New Orleans, and then finally at South by Southwest. And it was absolutely exhausting, but so much fun. And then at the end of this year, we are hoping to launch our next venture that I actually thought of. I thought of it a few years ago, but it wasn't really the right time for it. And it's a company that we're going to call Bastard Films, because every film needs to find their parents. And what we will be doing is putting together some sort of platform that we haven't fully defined yet to help filmmakers connect with the right distributor or mix of distributors for them, and really showing filmmakers how to create their own designer distribution. So that's it. Thank you very much.